Welcome to Shadow Keepers, where we search for the truth behind cursed objects, haunted places, and the darkest corners of the unknown. I'm Lee.
And I'm B. Tonight's case, a ghost who did more than haunt. She solved her own murder.
This isn't a campfire story, it's a real murder case, and the only one in American history where a ghost testimony helped convict a killer.
Get comfortable, but not too comfortable, because justice is coming from beyond the grave. Zona grew up in rural Greenbrier County, nestled in the Appalachian Mountains of West Virginia. She lived a simple life in the countryside, a place shaped by coal mining, farming, and strong Methodist roots. Not much is recorded about her early years, as she wasn't from a prominent family and lived in an era when the lives of young women were rarely documented unless they were connected to scandal or tragedy. According to local records, the family history, she had a relatively quiet upbringing. However, Zona may have had a child out of wedlock before her marriage to Shue, a fact sometimes mentioned in oral history but not formally recorded. If true, this may have caused friction in a tightly knit religious community. Her mother, Mary Jane Heaster, was known to be spiritual, strong-willed, and deeply protective of her daughter. In 1896, Zona met Erasmus Trout Shue, a blacksmith who had recently moved to Greenbrier County. He was described as handsome, charismatic, and well-dressed, a charmer. Zona fell in love with him quickly, and they married in October 1896. But Trout Shue carried secrets. What Zona and her mother likely didn't know was that he had been married twice before. His first wife divorced him due to physical abuse. His second wife died under mysterious circumstances, allegedly from a fall while doing chores. Despite these warning signs, Zona married him just months before her death. At the time, Trout was new to the town, and many in the community did not know his history.
So, Erasmus, he often went by Edward or Trout, born in 1861 in Virginia, worked as a blacksmith, a respected trade back then, strong physical work. From the outside, he seemed like a hardworking man, but it didn't take long for people to realize he had a dark, violent side. Zona was not his first wife. Shue had been married twice before, and both of those marriages ended badly. First wife divorced after accusations that he was extremely abusive. His first wife said he was violent, short-tempered, and controlling. The second wife died under mysterious circumstances. Details are murky but very suspicious, and after Zona's death, people started whispering that maybe he had killed before. His reputation, he was known for having a hot temper, possessive and jealous. He wanted control over his wives, believed the wife should be obedient and silent. Locals later said he had bragged he intended to marry 7 women before he died, almost like it was a sick goal. When he married Zona Heaster in 1896, he charmed her quickly, likely hiding his true nature at first. After they married, he isolated her from family and neighbors. Some neighbors noticed Zona looked afraid or nervous in his presence, but speaking up against a husband in those times was rare and dangerous.
It was January of 1897 in the quiet hills of Greenbrier County, West Virginia. Elva Zona Heaster, a young woman in her 20s, had only recently married a blacksmith named Erasmus Trout Shue, who went by Trout. They hadn't been married long, and soon Zona was dead. A young boy sent by Trout to the house found her lying at the foot of the stairs. Her body was already cold. Zona was dressed in a high-collared dress, and her husband cradled her head obsessively, refusing to let the doctor examine her closely. The official cause of death? Everlasting faint, a poetic way of saying she just dropped dead. But Zona's mother, Mary Jane Heaster, didn't buy it. She said from the very beginning something was wrong. And when no one listened, she asked for answers in prayer. And that's when the dream started. For 4 nights, Mary Jane claimed her daughter came to her, not in metaphor, not in feeling, but in spirit. The ghost of Zona appeared, described her final moments, and pointed with a spectral finger. Her husband had killed her. She told her mother that Trout Shue had flown into a rage because she hadn't cooked meat for dinner. He had choked her and snapped her neck. The ghost even demonstrated how her neck had been broken, slowly turning her head a full 180 degrees before vanishing. Mary Jane, now driven by both grief and certainty, went to the local prosecutor. She begged for Zona's body to be exhumed, and perhaps because of her conviction, or because small town whispers had already begun, they agreed. When Zona's body was re-examined, what they found matched the ghost's story exactly. Her windpipe had been crushed. Fingerprints on her neck. Her neck had been broken between the first and second vertebrae. This was no feint. This was murder.
Trout Shue was arrested and tried for murder. It came out during the investigation that he had a violent past, including multiple marriages that ended suspiciously. Mary Jane testified about the ghostly visits in court under oath. Surprisingly, the defense's attempt to discredit her only strengthened her credibility with the jury. Shue was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison. He died a few years later in prison in 1900. The Greenbrier ghost remains the only known case in the United States where the testimony of a ghost was legally accepted to help secure a conviction. Today, there is a West Virginia historical marker in Greenbrier County dedicated to the story of the Greenbrier ghost. Here is a version of Zona's ghost telling the Greenbrier story. You think death is the end? You think a grave can keep the screams buried? No. I died with my eyes wide open, staring at the face of a man I thought I loved. He didn't whisper sweet words that morning. He didn't kiss me goodbye. He wrapped his hands around my throat and squeezed until the bones inside me snapped, like twigs under boot. My neck gave way with a sickening crack. I felt it. I heard it. And then nothing but a heavy, endless cold. He dressed me up after, stuffed my broken body into a Sunday gown, tied a scarf tight around my throat to hide the jagged, unnatural bend. He fooled the doctor, fooled the town, but he didn't fool me. Death did not silence me. It sharpened me. I clawed my way out of the dark night after night, whispering into my mother's dreams. I showed her my broken neck, the way my head lollied and twisted on shattered bones. I screamed the truth into her sleeping mind until she listened. They dug me up, tore open the earth I was trapped beneath, and there it was, the mark of rage carved into my flesh. Erasmus Shue thought he killed me. He only woke something worse. He rotted behind iron bars, but me, I am still here, watching, waiting. The living forget too easily, but the dead, we remember every broken bone, every gasping breath, every betrayal. You walk the earth thinking you're safe. You're not. I'm Zona Heaster Shue, and I do not rest. Some creepy side notes. Some accounts say that while Shue was in jail waiting trial, he showed zero remorse. Almost like he didn't believe Zona, even in death, could defeat him. Spoiler, she did, and she never let him forget it. So, the ghost story takes place at Greenbrier County, West Virginia, specifically in a rural town near Lewisburg, tucked deep into the Appalachian Mountains. Imagine dense forests, rolling hills, fog that clings to the ground at dawn, and valleys so quiet you could hear a whisper from the other side. Isolation was normal, neighbors were miles apart, the wildness of the land felt alive in a way city folk couldn't understand. The late 19th century, a time when science and superstition coexisted uneasily. Medical knowledge was limited, and people trusted signs, omens, dreams, and ghost stories as much as sometimes even more than any official diagnosis or police work. The Appalachian Mountains have long been a breeding ground for tales of the supernatural. Ghosts, haunts, witches, warnings from the dead, these were common beliefs passed down by generations. Many early settlers were of Scots-Irish descent, bringing their old world folklore with them. Belief in spirits, second sight, and supernatural justice. The rugged, misty landscape naturally lent itself to feeling haunted. Isolated homes, graveyards on hillsides, strange noises in the woods at night. Dreams were often seen as messages from beyond. The dead were believed to linger if wronged or unsettled. Signs from nature, like animals behaving strangely or sudden weather changes, were considered omens. Ghost sightings were often taken seriously, even by religious folks, not necessarily evil, but as warnings or unfinished business. Mary Jane Heaster's story fit right in. In a different part of the country, claiming your daughter's ghost told you her killer's name would have been laughed off. But in Greenbrier County, people listened. They understood that sometimes the dead needed the living to finish their story. And fun fact, even today, Greenbrier County and much of the Appalachia is known for being thick with ghost stories, like the Mothman of nearby Point Pleasant, the Flatwoods Monster, countless ghost lights, haunted mines, cursed woods, and phantom footsteps whispered about from porch to porch. The culture of respecting ghostly warnings was crucial. If Mary Jane had lived in Boston or New York, her claims might have been dismissed. But in the Appalachians, a mother's dream was seen as real evidence, especially when backed by sudden death, suspicious behavior, and hidden injuries. Zona's ghost fit perfectly into the region's long tradition of the dead reaching back into the world of the living, refusing to be forgotten. The Greenbrier ghost wasn't just a murder story, it was an Appalachian justice story, where even death couldn't silence the wronged.
And where is Zona now? She rests in peace now, but a historic marker in West Virginia still tells her story. It reads, "Interred in nearby cemetery is Zona Heaster Shue. Her death was attributed to natural causes until her spirit appeared to her mother to describe how she was killed. The only known case in which testimony from a ghost helped convict a murder. Sometimes the dead speak, and sometimes they scream." I do have to say, I did, like when you look them up, you see their pictures.
Mm-hmm.
I did see his photo, and I can understand why so many women married him. Because it's not that he was like, I think for back then, he was like, he looked very muscular and like conventionally handsome by
Mm-hmm.
his photo.
Yeah, I've seen his
So
photo, yeah.
I could see why so many women married. Like he was able to convince a lot of women to marry him. Well, not a lot, 3, but his goal was 7. So
Yeah, I
if
think
he
he
was
would have been
smarter,
able to reach his goal.
but it also makes sense too why she was in. So he had to then redress her
He
because
had to, yeah, because
yeah,
her
she
neck
was
was
in a
broke.
because she was in a high neck dress.
And even
When
the scarf, they said that, her mother presented it at court, and it had,
like,
blood on it
but what I don't
from her
get,
neck.
I mean, if he snapped her neck wouldn't bleed.
I don't know. I mean, you don't know, like, he might have been able to pierce something,
But
bone or
I also
something.
don't get I understand he, like, held on tight to her and, like, the doctor wasn't able to examine her in the moment, but once you took her body away, like, it's not like he put her in the casket and buried her himself.
Mhm.
So, once you had the body, you couldn't see that it was broken. I can understand the bruising because I know bruising does take time to appear. It could take a few days, I think, but I just don't understand how they didn't I mean, I could see maybe if they thought maybe she fell down the steps or something, but everlasting faint is hilarious to me
And
because
they also said, it could have also been childbirth even though there was nothing saying that she was pregnant.
well, I did find something that did say that because because she wasn't somebody prominent, because basically they were like, since she wasn't anybody special, there wasn't any records or anything about her, but there were some stories that she actually had a child already.
Yeah, but that's not like it says, initial cause of death, ruled as everlasting faint and then later amended to childbirth, though it was unclear if Zona was pregnant from him, not from a not a previous child.
I
So I
don't
don't
think they
understand who
were
like the doctor's name is Dr. George Knapp. So like what kind of doctor was he? He didn't even look her like over correctly
well,
and just like
they
guessed stuff.
back then they had different standards.
I know, but it's like, okay, it could be this or it could be that. Like, fuck, examine
I
her.
I
Look
don't
at
think
her.
I don't think they were together long enough for her to be that far along in pregnancy where she would have been giving birth because
Well,
they were
yeah,
only
yeah.
married for a few months.
Yeah, that's why I said there was nothing saying that she was pregnant for it to be quote unquote childbirth.
Yeah,
So to me, childbirth is the baby's actually being born
like
and then
she died in
exactly, like
childbirth.
exactly. So
Not
how can
in
you rule it childbirth when you don't even know if this woman was pregnant?
It's funny because I actually had this discussion with Tony, I think it was yesterday or the day before, where, a lot of women, specifically women, aren't diagnosed with a lot of things or checked over properly. And all medical books are geared towards men. So I think the only section geared towards women is childbirth and their illusion of what childbirth is. Because it's not like a woman is writing this book. Um,
They did say after, Edward Shue died in prison, no one claimed his body.
I mean, I'm kind of mad that he died.
Yeah, they
He
say
served 1 year for each wife, though the first wife lived. Because they said he was only there for 3 years. I guess prison back then was crazy though, because I mean, when we went to the Mayfair prison
Mhm.
and you see like the confinement of it all, I'm like, it's not like prison today.
Yeah,
Like, not that prison is great today, but prison today is a luxury compared to prison in the past, okay?
yeah,
All these prisoners up here complaining, you could be in a cell block like how theirs was, okay?
yeah,
On some rickety staircases.
he died a few years, reportedly of an unknown epidemic, though many whispered it was fitting that he rotted away.
Oh, okay, that will make sense.
Like, yeah, I could see an
Whatever.
epidemic because,
Yeah.
there's so many people in
Well,
one
that's like,
place.
yeah, but that's even when the epidemic we had,
Mhm.
they were releasing nonviolent prisoners because too many people were getting it in prison and they didn't have enough to what's it called to take care of everyone.
Yeah.
But see, this all happened along the Appalachian Trail. It makes me interested in to see what else, 'cause there's so many cases. The Appalachian Trail is so long. It spans so many states.
Yeah.
It makes me, well, 2 things. It makes me want to explore more of what's going on in the Appalachian Trails, and 2, visit it, but I also don't wanna visit it. Like, I want an experience, but I feel like the Appalachian Trail will swallow you.
Yeah.
It's not like going to, like, a prison or a battlefield. I feel like if I go to the Appalachian Trail, I might not come back type of
Well, you
situation.
have to go to, like, a certain area, maybe if there's, like, cabins for rent or something, stay
There
in that little
are
area,
there
stay on
are,
the
and
trail
there are
in
resorts
that
and
area,
everything,
yeah.
and I know a lot of the hotels and resorts within that area also experience some haunting behavior.
And then knowing Tony, he's gonna wanna hike at night,
No, he will
so
not. He'll go, not if he has to go by himself.
no, he's gonna make all of you guys hike at night.
No,
That's
because
when you're gonna get
if we
swallowed
go
up.
stay at the actually, he has stayed because the Appalachian Trail is close to us,
Mhm.
so he has stayed at a few campsites near or on the Appalachian Trail. Don't think he experiences much. Also, he only goes for a night. It's just for him to, like, reset his mind. Like, he's gonna go, camping next weekend for Memorial Day weekend, and I'm like, I'm great with that because when he goes camping, I bed rot and order takeout. The only thing is I still have to take care of the dogs and the child, and I'm okay with that. But since he has the hard camper, because I kept telling him too many stories, and then he would get freaked out and come home.
Mhm. Yeah.
He's like, "I need you to stop telling me these things
Yeah,
before I
you're the one
go."
scaring him.
I'm like, "Listen, I just need you to know there is no place that is safe here, okay? So you think, oh, but I have a weapon. You're in a tent that is the thickness of a sheet. They're gonna see you before you see them.
Mhm.
What are you talking about? That's not gonna protect you from anything. That doesn't even protect you from bugs. What are you talking about? Get out of here. You know how many people die? You know how many
Mhm.
people die in the Appalachian Trail? So now he does safer camping. But no, I would like to do, but no, we did something like that. Bitch, you gotta come with me.
Where? The Dappler, yeah.
It's not just me in it. You gotta come too. What the fuck you talking about? He's gonna make y'all. You know,
He's
yeah,
gonna make you all go t see, I would probably do it because I'm like that. I'm like, "Alright, let's go. I wanna see something. I
if
wanna
you go,
hear some
I'll go.
noises."
We can leave Jay back with the baby. The
Yeah, they
baby
can
like, I'm
stay.
not doing that,
They
dude.
can stay, play Xbox or something, and then us 3 will go out for a hike at night,
I'm like,
midnight
listen, I'm too brown.
midnight for an
I'm
hour.
I'm too brown for this. What y'all got me doing? Y'all watch scary movies? Come on now. No, there are a lot of crazy people. And it's also crazy, like, when you hear stories about people who live in like, the Appalachian Trails and They don't even know how many people live there because they camp out there. They're permanent residents of the trail and they just live in caves.
Yeah, I'm more afraid of people than I am of spirit.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, if we encounter people, that's when I'll be afraid. I'm like, "Yeah, I wanna go back." But if I hear, like, eerie noises and stuff, I'll be like, "What was that? Let's go look for it."
Yeah, I'm more scared of people and animals because there's gotta be bears
Yeah,
and
that's
stuff.
true.
And on the because it's all mountain. And I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm good. I don't know what bear is it that you gotta fake dead? What bear is it that you gotta make loud noises? And then what bear is it
Black
that
bear, you
you
have
just
to make
gotta
loud
run?
noises. Brown bear, you have to fake dead. Grizzly, you're fucked either way, you're done.
Yeah, because you rarely, unless you live in like Alaska or something, will rarely encounter a polar bear, but polar bears don't care either.
Yeah.
They coming for you. If you're
Yeah, they
playing
don't
dead,
care, yeah.
you're just then a meal.
Yeah, because they stay being hungry.
Yeah, well, global warming
Mhm.
is taking away a lot of their resources. Anyway. In this segment, we turn to the tarot to unveil hidden truths, gain insights into the unseen forces, and explore what the universe might be trying to tell us. Each card drawn opens a doorway into the unknown. Let the symbols speak, and the shadows guide you. This week's card is the Two of Pentacles reversed. Reversed is overcommitted, disorganization, and reprioritization. The Two of Pentacles reversed. In an introverted position, the Two of Pentacles warns that you are overcommitted and at times struggling to maintain your overloaded schedule or stay on top of your billing. Others might not see it yet, but the stress is getting to you, and you may even catch yourself dropping the ball. Follow this card's lesson and get organized. You may need to bring more structure to your responsibilities through budgets or to do lists, forward planning, or a diary and effective time management. Turn down opportunities that are no longer in alignment with your goals. The reverse Two of Pentacles can also be a sign you are over investing in one area of your life at the expense of others. For example, you may excel in your career, but you have little time for your family or your partner, leaving them feeling disconnected and alone. While you may get away with a few late nights at work, there will come a time when enough is enough. Something has to give. That one feels real.
Yeah, that feels real for me too.
Like, that seems like a real life thing. And I do because, it's kind of been a couple weeks since we recorded. So it is like over extending. And I have been getting more organized so I can be more productive, which is hard when you have ADHD unmedicated. So I have been trying to get more structure. I
Mhm.
even been looking into getting a shed and modifying it into an office so that I can work outside the house, which would give me more, will stimulate me more into work-life balance instead of everything being in one place.
Yeah.
Oh, he was making plans, and he's like, "And if we get a tall one, I'll build you a loft and we could put a bed up there." I'm like, "I'm not sleeping out here."
Yeah. He's trying to kick you out of the house. Then
No,
he's gonna make you pay rent.
because that's his dream is to get a shed. I'm like, "You want a
But
shed
that's
to."
his dream, and then he's gonna take your shed.
I'm like, "Why
He's
don't we
gonna
get."
build it f in your name, but then he's gonna take it.
I was like, "Why don't we get his and her sheds then?" Our
Yeah,
yard
true.
our yard is big, but it's not that big for that many sheds.
No, I don't think so.
I'm like, "Yo, you know, this is why we wanted land."
My yard is big enough.
Well, technically, our yard is big enough for his and her shed, but we already have a shed,
Mhm.
a huge one. I think it's like 12 by 12 shed back there with all the lawnmowers and stuff like that. So now adding two more, not that we don't have room, we do have room, but I don't want our whole yard just being sheds. So, but now I do. I was looking into it because I'm going to turn it into a mini library. So it does need to be climate controlled.
That was The Greenbrier Ghost, a true crime with a paranormal twist. Do you think Mary Jane really saw Zona's ghost, or was it a mother's intuition? dressed in a dream.
Whatever you believe, Zona's voice or spirit brought a killer to justice. That's real enough.
Thanks for traveling into the dark with us. If you got your own haunted truth to share, send it our way. We're always listening.
Until next time, stay vigilant, stay awake, stay aware, and keep your eyes on the shadows because not all shadows are harmless.
Yep.
What? Bye.
Bye.
Europe. That was so hood.
I am agreeing with that line.
Okay.